Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you're tuned in from. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. My name is Kellam. Welcome to the show. We do this every day, absolutely every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to about 11:30 p.m. I want to say that I wasn't able to make it yesterday. That was a fluke. Woke up, was getting ready early, bright and early. Went to turn the car on. The car didn't work. It's kind of like when you're really set up for a trade and it doesn't go your way. What do? You adapt. It took me literally about 6.5 hours to get that all sorted. I didn't even get into the office until about 2 p.m. And then I was able to do the Crypto Answered podcast. If you didn't listen to that, make sure you check out my Twitter profile, which let me actually come over to it right over here. How's everybody doing today? How are you feeling? Answer that poll in chat. Are you bullish? Like we're going to break, not just pump to 30K. Are we going to break 31K, which is a previous sort of high region or, on this current pump that we're on a retrace from? If you're bullish, that means you think we're going to break past that 31K. Do you think that we may get a pump, or even if not, do you think we're going to go down and actually test that 25, 24K region or below? Get involved with that poll. Let me know. Also, throw a comment down below if you're watching this somewhere else, or if you're watching this later, I should say. And if you are watching somewhere else, aka the Hit Network 24/7 stream, make sure you come and check out all these socials that you see down here on the bottom. Also, BitLab Academy. Check that out. And what I was saying before is, come over here to my Twitter. If you did not listen to the podcast yesterday, we're getting lower listenership on the Twitter Spaces, which is okay because we also have distribution on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Music. So that's great. But these are, where is it at? Boom, 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 right here. Come and listen to this. It's a great discussion. We were talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFTs, ordinals, some ranges that, what we were thinking about was going to happen with price. With some great guests on there. So definitely check that out. We do it every Thursday. So I just wanted to shout that out. Now, I do want to say we've got a great guest, one of our friends should be coming on today. Let me go ahead and come back to my full screen here. I just want to see if he's messaged yet. Okay. He'll hop on when he hops in. But what I wanted to point out here was right here. It looks, we're getting a little bit, look at this. This is actually nice to see. Now, of course, we're interested in Bitcoin, digital assets, Ethereum, Cardano, all these, non-traditional assets, of course, but we got to take some signal as to what the health of the general investing and financial ecosystem is. And look at this. We're getting it's not as red as it has been. We're getting a little bit of a pump. And I don't know if you all saw this. Let me see if I think I did a tweet about it. Look at this. The largest single-day market cap gain for any stock in U.S. equity market history. Do you see this? NVIDIA sees record jump in market cap. What does this mean? Well, there's a couple things to consider here. It's not just that NVIDIA pumped. It's not just a traditional asset, is pushing higher. But when we look at things like this, we have to contend. We have to really realize that even if you're only invested in the digital asset ecosystem, not everybody is. Your mom, your dad, your uncle, your neighbor, friend, people that have been on Wall Street. There's a lot of people that are still very apprehensive about getting involved in the digital asset ecosystem from a lot of FUD and a lot of just misunderstanding and a lot of lack of awareness about the true nature of what Bitcoin and the other major digital assets are in the ecosystem. But even so, we can see companies like NVIDIA specifically is one of those companies that's kind of straddling the line. Yes, it's a traditional asset. It's a graphics processor company, but they're very heavily, think about graphics processing as a, traditional, a company that's traded on traditional asset platforms. It's within the S&P 5. Gesundheit. Traded on the S&P 500. But it's also, think about all the mining. Think about all the mining over the last few years. Of course, mining for Bitcoin is so competitive now. We have specific machines designed, graphics processing companies that have built ASIC miners and a number of other things that have evolved it's not just your everyday laptop that's mining Bitcoin, but you also have a long list of other digital assets that are still mined. And graphics processing is at the heart of that, because the way in which those graphics processors, basically those chipsets, manage the information. If you think about graphics processing, all that is computational processing of very high algorithm, not algorithmic, but huge data sets of information to mathematics to process all the different, trigonometry and all the different stuff, geometry to create those graphics. And so graphics processing companies like NVIDIA have gotten a lot of indirect/direct exposure to the growth of the digital asset ecosystem. In addition to that, AI, and there's so much that's going into thinking about these companies. Now, what's interesting about this, and the reason why I think this is important when I'm trying to figure out where Bitcoin and the digital asset ecosystem may be going, is if we kind of zoom out from this for a second. Let me just make sure. Okay, we're going to be bringing on Mr. Noble here in just a moment. Mr. Noble, can you just nod if you hear me? Okay, awesome. I just want to make sure, so when I throw this your way in a second, I won't have to reframe it. Is this right here? Looking at this this chart right here, the S&P. Remember, we talk about the S&P 500. Look at this, up 10%. Now, I want you to really understand what's going on here, because we see this Meta, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Tesla, NVIDIA, up 44%, while the other so basically 7 companies, the other 493 companies on the S&P 500. Now, think about that. What does that 500 mean? We always need to understand the monikers and the nature of the things that are in the ecosystems that affect the assets that we're trading. The rest of the 500 companies in the S&P 500, the other 493% are only up 1%. So this S&P 500 being up 10%, only 7 companies are accounting for that. Now, the question is here, when we're looking forward in the markets, are these outliers that are going to basically bring the rest of the S&P 500 and a lot of the economy up with it? Or is this a bubble that's going to crash and come back down? So it's just something to have in consideration. We can dive into all this and more. Bitcoin still, basically trading below this range. Is it going to be rejected here at this 26,700 and come back down? Are we going to break up? We're going to get into all this. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, AVAX, all the things on the markets, what's going on. We're coming into the end of the month. June 1st is a major sort of date that is speculated, but also real, coming up to the debt ceiling, but also some new provisions and some new on-ramps that may be coming into the digital asset ecosystem through China and Hong Kong. What do we make of this? So I'm throwing it right over to my main guy. And before we do that, everybody hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, let us know you care. It really helps drive the entire crypto ecosystem forward, letting YouTube know you like this kind of content. So with that being said, throwing it to my main guy, Mr. Bill Noble, who is currently not showing up on the Zoom. So I'm throwing you in bated breath. Everybody hit those emojis in chat while I search for the Zoom window. There it is, boom. There he is, throwing you right in there. How you doing, Mr. Bill Noble? Thank you for being back.
Hi, thanks for having me. So we're jumping right in, right? S&P. All right, let's talk about stocks. $1 in stocks is better than $1 in the bank. And I used to work at a place like Schwab, and you never have to tell a retail investor twice to put money in stocks or S&P. Now, the thing about NASDAQ that you're going to think is really funny is that retail in equities, which, is not always the smartest crowd, they're actually super short NASDAQ, believe it or not. Like SQQQ, the triple leveraged, tech ETF, they're assuming that the economy is going to turn over, that AI is going to wreck these tech companies. And it seems like, even though I don't agree, they're doing the opposite, or institutions, check that, are doing the opposite. They're buying tech. All right. So as crypto people, it's like, oh, really? You guys are going to buy stocks and not Bitcoin? All right, fine. So, you noted, and, I have a graphic, you already explained it, that, really the S&P is being driven by, the FANG stocks, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Microsoft. And, everything else is lagging. And you know what? To be honest with you, with the way I see the Gann timing set up, whatever is in motion is just going to expand. So if people are FOMOing into tech stocks, they're going to really FOMO in, right? If
it's like it's like the conservation of energy sort of principle. Yeah.
Right. In other words, whatever happening is going to continue to happen or accelerate. So if the rest of the S&P is stuck in a range, guess what? It's going to stay stuck in a range, right? I think, the other thing you have to consider is what's going on with bonds. Like there's rumors of a debt deal and our bonds still trade terrible. I mean, if they ruin their credibility with any type of default or shutdown, bonds go down, rates go up. If they settle it all, they have to borrow $1 trillion literally right off the bat. And trust me, with the mechanics of the way that gets done, the people who help give the government the money, they're going to short bonds, which causes rates to rise. Now, even if that doesn't make sense, think about it this way. What's putting the brakes on crypto? Like, why is it like, oh my God, like, sell in May and go away. Maybe this year just meant, just bore the F out of us, which actually for me is actually worse than it going down. When it goes down, you're like, okay, yes, I can set up support and get some. This is like, okay. But theoretically, crypto is holding like a champ, right? Interest rates going up, crypto doesn't care, right? That's great. How long that lasts, I don't know. You're probably going to get your dip at some point, right? But, crypto holds like a champ. And if anything, your plan should be, how do I hoover up crypto, whether it's, save some shekels for when it goes down and grab it, or just figure out how to grab it at the bottom end of whatever the range happens to be.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's, I don't want to say tools because it's not necessarily a tool, but one of the things I think that, and it makes sense. It's just attention spans, especially in today's world, are shorter than ever. And, the interesting thing about that is because attention, and I'll even speak just to my own effect. I'll sit down and be like, I don't have enough time to watch a show because I'm trying to take a break. Because a show, immediately that's an hour commitment or something. I'll realize an hour and 45 minutes later, I've been scrolling through 30-second clips on Instagram or whatever, the stories, Facebook, whatever, and that's the distinction of not wanting to make the commitment and then, having more time taken up is something that I think is also sort of playing, I don't want to say playing out in markets, but is also affected in markets. And right now, the best thing that we could do, and also really ever that we could do in any participation of markets, is be patient. And being patient, I think sometimes people feel, especially newer in the digital asset ecosystem, like I have a friend that made about $45 million, and this is back in 2016 because he had bought $12,000 worth of Bitcoin in 2012. And of course, even myself, I was like, I didn't put the math together in my head that from 2012 to almost 2017, so before going on 5 years, I looked at it as like, I'm going to get in this month and I'm going to be rich in 3 months, not putting that 5-year sort of time frame into how you guys doing? Putting that sort of into context. And so same thing where we're at right now. I think back a lot to 2015 on how long, although there was oscillations, how long that range, I think it was like 500 days or something, we were within about a $2,000 range. Of course, the price went up and down below that in terms of the percentage gains and losses. But from where we started until about a year and a half later, there was only about, the price was only about a $2,000 difference. And so where we're at right now, it's exactly what you're saying. Like, it's getting to the point where people are getting complacent because they're bored. And we don't know if it's June 2nd or June 2nd next year. There's no way to really know. When the market lifts off, the market lifts off. And when the market dumps, it happens very quick. And so what would you say to people that are in the market right now that are frustrated whether they got in at 68,000 and they've been waiting, now I commend people that have been waiting all the way down to this level and they're still around. I mean, you all, the people that have done that, you are the true, if you really stick around and be patient, and if DCA'd, you know, somewhere near these bottoms, it's going to work. But people that are just sitting here going, where is this pre-halving pump? One, I'd argue we're kind of in the middle of it, but what would you say to people to give them a mind tool set to deal with this frustrating sort of range that we're not breaking out of?
All right. The first thing I would do is start watching Michael Saylor videos or Michael Saylor tweets, or just even looking at photos of him from Bitcoin Miami, which I wish I had been at. Okay. Michael Saylor's average price is 30K. So he didn't care. He was buying at 28. And he's going to view any move to 24, or even if you get it lower, he's going to view that as a good thing. So It's ironic. I think if you're long at 60, I mean, he bought a bunch at 48, 60. You know, people who bought at 60 have to think 100. You have to say to yourself, even though no one would dare say it on YouTube, they talked more about it 2 years ago, is start talking about 80 or 100, right? Now, in terms of somebody who's bored now, here's the advice. Forget about Pepe, right? Everybody is trying to repeat Pepe. That is a once in a cycle phenomenon. I got to forget about Pepe. I got a co-host, another analyst. She said, Pepe, Pepe, Pepe. I was like, yeah, this chart looks really good. It looks really good. And I didn't do it. Forget about it. Forget about it. What you want to do is stay focused on, you know, the Gann work shows things can expand. The Gann work also shows, you know, crises are coming, particularly for the United States. Other work that I have shows the debt ceiling is not the crisis. The debt ceiling starts a problem either with our bond market or interest rates. And then work, I literally just recorded it this morning. Crypto is going to be the solution, right? Don't focus on the problem that it's not moving. Focus on the fact that the solution is going to be crypto when this problem reveals itself. Now, no one's going to not think about Pepe, so let me give it to you a different way. Investment banks are saying that 2023 is the same as 2008, except 2023 things move slower. I agree, things seem slow now, but when this problem surfaces, you know, maybe September or August, and then definitely October, November, oh my God, this is going to move so fast, because remember, when legacy comes to crypto, to them, Bitcoin is Pepe, right? And when they all come all at once, I mean, you can read all kinds of statistics. There's 1 million Bitcoin addresses. There's no liquidity on exchanges, none. So when they come, it's going to go. And if you fall asleep, you know, if you miss Pepe, it's forgivable. It was a meme coin, right? If you miss a potential move to 100K in Bitcoin, especially if that happens in like a 2017 type of way, you'll never forgive yourself. So, you know, I'm like, oh my God, I got to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the answer. And I'm like, all right, just try and wait until the sell in May or the, you know, the June bumps come along with interest rates. Waiting is impossible, particularly when you know that's what's going to happen, right? We know bonds are going down. We know the U.S. is in trouble. We know there are going to be more bank failures. Bank stocks are tech's flying and bank stocks are down as we speak. So hard to wait when you know it's coming. But that's what you had to do in 2008. Like, the best advice I can give you is, I've seen this before. I've seen everybody have to hurry up and wait. And then the trade comes along and everybody, including George Soros, they got stopped out because their positions were too big. And then it happened. So, you know. So
what would you say? You know, I don't know what the answer to this is, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I have, and this is not founded on. This is founded like from a gut feeling on my behalf, looking at charts as well, but it's just kind of a bit of it's timing, a bit of it is charts. A bit, it's just, like when you have a gut feeling that's when you've been doing something for a long time, it's not just a gut feeling. It's from all the little signals that you're aware of and that your subconscious is aware of. That's where the gut feeling comes from, is from experience. And when you have a lot of experience, a gut feeling can be very profound, and sometimes it can misguide you provocatively terribly, right? So I have this gut feeling that there's a higher likelihood than not that in June, maybe not at the very beginning of June, but I do feel like there's going to be a momentum shift in June to some sort of bullish continuation or attempt, whether it's a continuation or just an attempt. Is sort of the question here, with all this speculation, and I say speculation regardless of what's been printed about it, because anything that's going on with China that's getting to the news media is obviously somewhat orchestrated, because they have such a tight grasp on what narratives get out about what they're doing. So, with this, the headline for the thumbnail for this stream was, is there new liquidity that's and potentially on-ramps coming in to the digital asset ecosystem from China? We've seen them sculpt in this weird way. Was it on purpose? Was it not? Getting miners out of the market at the top now, working the narratives now, once we're in this much better price point, now potentially opening the door, opening the on-ramps for not all digital assets, but for large market cap digital assets, starting in Hong Kong, potentially then maybe that's a test case to them potentially allow that in China. Do you think this is something that is actually going to happen? Do you think it's going to be very limited for a select few? Is there going to be a new on-ramp liquidity coming soon from China? What's your thoughts on that sort of narrative?
Okay, this is a great point. So Chinese retail loves gambling. They view all markets, including if you look at ASHR, that's the China A shares ETF that follows their domestic stock market, or even if you've seen photos of Macau. The Chinese love to gamble. It's
like 30 times Vegas. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. So they're going to want to chase Mo. They are Momo investors. They're not going to sit around and go, I see the strategic value of Bitcoin, or I'm buying into Satoshi's vision. No. What they're going to do is they're going to see it when it starts to move, right? So if Bitcoin, this is my argument about the patience part, they're going to see Bitcoin start to move, and then they're going to jump in. And then I would imagine the Chinese government is probably also going to come in and buying, because let's face it, Bitcoin above 50K embarrasses the current administration. Gensler can't stop it, right? I mean, I don't know how much more FUD Gensler's going to throw at it. They're not. I mean, I think the thing that they're doing now behind the scenes is they're like spooking Coinbase compliance to the degree that if you do a lot of transactions through Coinbase, they're suspending your account. But when it comes to Chinese retail, it's just more people that are going to jump on the Mo trade. So who's going to jump on the Mo trade? Well, we know crypto players are going to do it, right? Everybody who missed Pepe is going to hit that green button with a vengeance. Legacy people are going to hit the green button with a vengeance, because this tech stock thing has its limits. They're bidding up tech stocks because retail is short. Once they're all done covering, I'm not sure where the bid is.
So wait. So let me grasp that for 1 second. So you're saying, in probably not all instances, but there's probably a strong narrative of sort of market hedging, where people are putting money into tech stocks while being short, while they're seeing a lot of short on the rest of the market.
Well, okay, almost. So you've got two types of players. Institutions are piling into the tech stocks, and they're squeezing out retail shorts. Okay. And that's what's going on in equities. And that's probably what's going to continue to go on in equities, right? Meanwhile, when the banks start to fail, when the bond market falls apart, and who knows, my analyst Toby came up, she said, the Fed may have to continue to tighten because this inflation thing's not going away. So, I mean, once the people see that higher rates, long and short term, start driving more and more bank failures, right? I mean, banks couldn't manage interest rate risk. So what are they going to do if there's another sharp increase in long-term interest rates from a bond market where we go, oh, I don't want these bonds. This country doesn't have its act together. Right. So what's going to happen when all these legacy investors, like, think about it, everybody who missed Pepe, buy Bitcoin, Chinese retail, buy Bitcoin, Fidelity customers, buy Bitcoin, right? All the elephants are going to try to get through the door at the same time. And I'm telling you guys the same thing I'm telling myself. If you can wait, right, when the Chinese start coming in, right, and it is also the presidential candidates. This is like an epilogue. You know how Gensler's always on the tape fudding crypto? Well, guess what? These presidential candidates, RFK and DeSantis, they're going to get on the tape, and they need that crypto vote. They're going to talk Bitcoin up every day. State of Texas is trying to tokenize gold. I mean, this is ridiculously bullish crypto, especially if it kind of all comes together at once. There's a lot of evidence. Dalio's talked about it. I could geek out on the GAN planet stuff. The United States is going to go through a transformative crisis, and retail investors are going to go, I want my freedom, I want safety, and I want crypto.
Yeah, it's definitely, I did a post about this on my Twitter about 6 months ago, and it was like, I don't know if the world's getting more bizarre and interesting, more just like on the edge, or if I'm just more aware, or if the answer is C, is it probably a little bit of both? You know what I mean? And so, like, even right now, coming up, it's not like this is not the first time that the U.S. has gotten to the point where we're, reaching our debt ceiling. I think we've raised the debt ceiling 78 times or something since the 60s, and. Right. And you would have more knowledge of this because you've been you've traveled around the sun a few more times than I have. And for anybody that doesn't know Bill Noble, I'm always so grateful to have him on the show because he has such a deep awareness about what's going on in the crypto ecosystem. But he also has firm feet on the ground in understanding the traditional markets. He's been doing this basically. He's been in financial markets as a career for basically since about the time I learned to ride a bike. So. And I don't want to go too far into this because this is going to be speculation about everything that's going to happen. It does look like the debt ceiling. It looks like there's something taking shape that, they're going to reach an agreement. They're going to raise it or something, cut spending, whatever the answer is. Everybody seems to forget. A lot of people forget that we have gotten to the point, I think it was in the early 90s, that we did default for a small period of time. What happens in the market What's the impact on the market? What's the two different paths that can go here? We reach an agreement, it goes forward, the ceiling gets raised, or we default. What's the risk that we're all taking on, especially being in risk assets like Bitcoin? And is there some potentiality that there's going to be hedging, and this is going to go against the market if the market does go down, or is this going to fall like a ton of bricks if the market gets taken down by some sort of default?
Okay, so the definition of a default. In terms of them like defaulting and not paying, like, you can't pay your credit cards if you lose your job. That's not going to happen. I don't see that happen, right? They've got more choices than they're letting on. They're just, they're distracting everyone with this default thing. Now, what are they distracting people from? And again, this comes from my analyst, Toby. Like, what are they doing? Well, they're probably distracting you from the fact that they've got to issue so many bonds and there's no one there to take it from them. No one, right? There's no one to buy our debt, right? They got to issue like, $1 trillion a year and the coffers are empty. They got to do 700 billion right away. So they're distracting you from the fact that interest rates are going higher and the integrity of our bond market and possibly even the dollar is happening, right? Now, again, people are so afraid about how much money they got to borrow that the dollar is actually rallying. I'm sure as crypto people, you're like, oh my God, I got to look at the dollar going up. Yeah, institutions are shorted, and everyone out there in legacy who is afraid that they're not going to be able to borrow the dollar, they're in the foreign exchange market buying it. Literally. Okay, can't borrow it, so let's take our euros or whatever and let's get dollars. Because, even if it's not the reserve currency in 5 years, it's still the reserve currency now. So this fear about the integrity of the currency in the bond market is what they're distracting you from. That's the trade for the rest of the year, I think. And that's the pro crypto trade if you can get through the bumps.
Well, yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. You know, it's when I was younger, you know, not only, you know, I think everybody's patriotic in some sort of sense of their country, and you should be, right? And we should, with being patriotic for any nation that you're in, you can also not be blindly patriotic. You have to also acknowledge in the same breath the issues and the areas that need improvement. And rather than just bitch and moan and complain about such things, we need to participate. Some people participate by feet on the ground, you know, activism or whatever. And everybody has the right to agree with or disagree with anything. I fully support that. But I think also we have to realize that we could vote on everything every single day based on how we spend our dollars. Voting with dollars, especially in a capitalistic society, voting with your dollars, what you're investing in, how you're investing, where you're spending your money, where you're saving your, all these things, every single thing you participate with dollars in the U.S. specifically, because we're such a capitalist society, you're voting on those systems getting bigger or changing the narrative by investing in something else. So with that being said, we're talking fairly broadly about a lot of the economic stuff right now, but I do want to shout out to everybody. I'm going to throw it back to my screen for a moment. Everybody, I want to shout out specifically, I think it was, let me go back to his name. Bully Barry said, this is turning into my favorite show. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that's here in chat. If you are liking what you're seeing, even if you don't like what you're seeing, but this is stirring thought, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, join our community, get involved, join our Discord. We have a free Discord as well. If you hop into BitLab Academy, which we're dropping a bunch of new lessons in the trading strategy stuff here this week. You also get access being a part of BitLab Academy with the premium Discord. So definitely get involved with that. And if you haven't yet, come over to the BitLab Academy page, which you can see right here, the Twitter page. Make sure you're following us here, which is at Academy BitLab. Hit that retweet, hit that like button. That's, you know, hitting the like button on the stream as well as coming and sharing these. It lets people know where they can come and be a part of a wonderful community. And you're getting entered to win. We do a drawing every week, typically on Friday. So at the end of the show, we will be doing a drawing. Sometimes we've given away $100. We've given away free lifetime access. We've given away multi-month access. All just for saying thank you for you sharing with your community where they can find good and broad crypto. A little touch on the news, but understanding the context of what's happening in markets and how they affect what's going on in the digital asset ecosystem. Talking about what's going on with the different strategies and tools that you can use, and not only bringing up those pro strategies and pro mindset, but throwing it back to the beginners, even talking about stuff as simple as what the hell is a candle? Because I remember when I came in, there's so much talk that people don't even realize when they think they're breaking it down for beginners. Beginners don't even know what the term price action means. So we try to sort of straddle that line, going back and forth, keeping the pros on their toes and keeping the beginners engaged so that they can get to that pro level. So come here, share this. And if you haven't yet, come over also to, where is it at? Crypto_noble. Follow along with Bill. He's got a great Twitter page here as well as YouTube page. A lot of great stuff he's doing. So definitely give him a follow. Now, I'm going to throw it back over to my main man, Bill. And I think we need to give some of the people this high level talk is what I love the most. But I think sometimes we got to fight that attention span. Let's get into some charts. How about we start with the Dixie, because we've seen an interesting sort of trend where Dixie has been pushing and markets are still uncertain, but the Dixie's also coming into the golden pocket. I'm going to go on my screen just for a moment before I throw it back to you. Coming into the Dixie, we have this breakdown here. And we're coming on this move right here, right into the golden pocket of the previous high, as well as this downtrend resistance. It's kind of, I don't want to say a make it or break it time, but there's definitely an opportunity here that the markets could be setting up as we're coming back into, as we're coming into the end of the month, coming into the beginning of June. Is this going to reject and relieve some of the downward pressure, the risk off pressure that's on markets? Now coming over to my guy, screen is back on you, my friend. What are you seeing? What's your alpha here on what's going on with the Dixie? Then we can jump into some of the crypto TA and considerations there.
Okay, so the dollar index, you know, what they're doing is, like I said, they can't borrow it, so they're buying it. Right now, dollar index is at 103, which is the 23% retracement of the down move. Now, a little bit of the bright side. If the dollar index failed badly and started to go down after retracing just 23%, that would be confirmation that you're in a mega dollar downtrend. And I still think you are in a mega dollar downtrend. So if the dollar rally failed here, that would be fantastic.
Hey, Bill, can we do something just on the nature of what I just said before? Because I forget this all the time. Very brief recap. If we're only trading Bitcoin, why the hell do we care about the dollar index? What is a dollar index on a broad level? What is it? What alpha do we gain by looking at the dollar index if we're investing in Bitcoin?
Okay, good question. So if you go to an airport, currency exchange counter, you're essentially looking at the dollar versus every other currency. And I know we think of crypto as being outside the system, but crypto is a currency traded versus the dollar, right? Like any other. So, if it's dollar up, it's euro down, right? Or if it's dollar down, euro up. So if you just consider Bitcoin as, you trade it versus the dollar, it's like any other currency, right? Now, if that doesn't make sense, let's try this. When the dollar goes up, people are afraid of something bad happening, and frequently something bad is happening to riskier assets. And of course, crypto is a riskier asset. So the best thing that can happen for, say, a risky asset is to have the dollar lower, right? That means people are like, okay, I can take my dollars and invest them. I don't have to hold on to my dollars because I'm afraid something bad's going to happen. So lower dollars, less fear, more tolerance, or more willingness to take risk. Higher dollar means, and that keeps people out of speculative assets, particularly altcoins.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I think it's important that we retouch on these things as many times as possible over the course, as we're looking at stuff, because I think even people that are in the space forget that. So I appreciate that.
Okay. So with the dollar index chart, failing at 23% would be awesome. Okay. But if they squeezed it all the way up to the 38%, just if you draw these basic Fibonacci retracements is like technical analysis textbook, chapter 2. Retracing 38% of a move is healthy for the trend. The trend is down. So it's down, retrace 38%. And then that is what can allow it to resume with a vengeance. Okay. So even if the dollar does rally, the dollar hasn't rallied to where it's going to threaten a long-term uptrend in Bitcoin at all. If anything, it's going to squeeze out weak dollar shorts and create room for guys like Druckenmiller and big hedge funds to come in and add to their dollar short positions. Because let's face it, the integrity of our currency, the media has picked up on de-dollarization. The media is recently picking up on central banks buying gold. This is a narrative that the general public, it's now top of mind, right? This is what I think drives people to Bitcoin. This is the difference between 2017, 2021, and now. 2017 was let's print Tether and ramp Bitcoin. 2020 was the Fed prints 6 trillion in 1 month. Let's go to the DeFi casino. Okay, 2023, people are really coming this time. And even if they start with stuff like meme coins, frequently big rallies, and you'll notice in equities, frequently the big rallies start with the small caps. It starts with the garbage rallying first. So even if meme coins are a sign of maybe a local top or a local pause, the crypto market is telling you that there are real reasons for the crypto rally, which is why this time around, I think, is different than other times.
So with that being said, let's drive over to Bitcoin and Ethereum, because I was noticing, looking, Bitcoin, as you just said, and we forget it because every one of us has our own biases. And we ignore that because we want to believe we're smarter than we are. And this is not calling anybody out. This is calling every one of us out. There's tribalism, whether or not we like it or not, within the crypto community and also within ourselves, because we get attached to the things somewhat unnecessarily because we have our money invested in it. So we want to believe this is better than that. And what I'm seeing right now, Bitcoin has sort of been trading in this range. And, we look a lot at the US dollar pairs of these different assets. But what I was seeing, looking at Bitcoin, it's in this range. Ethereum is looking relatively strong in terms of the Ethereum to Bitcoin pairing, that it looks like there could be a move coming that could outpace, maybe even be one of those jump starts. Ethereum has a major market cap. It's the second largest market cap in the digital asset ecosystem. And it's looking like, when I was looking at the ETH to BTC pairing, it's looking like we could get a move there. Do you think that Ethereum could be one of those catalysts that could start a little bit of a move in the digital asset ecosystem? Or do you think it's still going to be Bitcoin that's going to drive the start of the next impulse to the upside?
Okay, well, the short version is, because of higher rates, I think the thing that drives the market is Bitcoin. Right now, if you get a massively lower dollar, that's where Ethereum really takes off. Okay, that said, I don't know if it's Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Sometimes I think it's Ethereum versus NVIDIA. Now, what's NVIDIA? Well, it's a tech stock that makes the chips for all the machines that do AI. So here's a little funny statistic about how undervalued Ethereum really is. Okay, this is a weekly chart of NVIDIA. This week, it's up 25%. This God candle here added $200 billion to the market cap of NVIDIA. That's larger than the GDP of Greece. And if you go over here to coin market cap, okay, the market cap of Ethereum, right? Where is it? Okay. The market cap of Ethereum, okay, let's say the market cap of Bitcoin is only 500 billion, right? Now, if you just go back and look at the chart, here's NVIDIA going bottom left to top right, and here's Ethereum has done nothing. Nothing, right? So, yeah, they're chasing the AI narrative, but even the AI coins are, they're too low. Because everyone's chasing one thing, and one thing that you'll know is that if everyone's doing the same thing, it's wrong. Like I heard yesterday, Jim Cramer was talking about he either named his dog NVIDIA or he will name his dog NVIDIA. It doesn't make sense. People are chasing the wrong stuff. So,
yeah,
I think Ethereum is just waiting.
It's that narrative. It's funny that you say that with Jim Cramer, because he's gotten such negative sort of, I don't know if he's trying to shape people into stuff to add liquidity for him to get out or what, but there's a lot. That inverse Cramer thing has been spectacular this last year. And why would you be chasing something that has pumped versus really, trying to diversify your calls on things that have not pumped yet, right?
Yeah, I mean, Cramer always buys the top and sells the bottom. He's got to talk on TV every day the way we do. And you know what? I think even if Cramer's wrong, Cramer gets more attention for being wrong than he does for being right. I mean, I'm on TV every day. I don't know if I would want to be famous for being an idiot or for famous because somebody created like an inverse notorious bill ETF. Okay, but I'd have more followers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People listen to Cramer just to do the opposite frequently. So, but Cramer is also a good mirror into retail equities, right? Like everyone who's been short tech stocks bought NVIDIA yesterday. Meanwhile, institutions are probably like, I'm going to buy AGIX or I'm going to buy anything in that ecosystem because for whatever reason, they're all buying a chip company when they should actually be buying a piece of the AI narrative.
Yeah. Are you focused on, do you have any exposure? Are you focused at all on the AI narrative in the digital asset ecosystem, AGIX, or some people want to consider GRT a part of that? I think it's more adjacent than actually a part of it. And there's a number of other ones as well. But what's your thoughts there?
Okay, so I met the AGIX guys at Consensus in Austin, right? The thought leader from AGIX from Singularity Net was on the stage with Snowden. I went to a Q&A with him after that, raised my hand and asked him, how does your company create value? And his answer was so profound and in depth, his own people wish they had videotaped it. I wish I had videotaped it. This guy's basically saying, we're going to make an entire ecosystem, right, where everybody can get a piece of a decentralized AI world. So many people are focused on, oh my God, AI is going to create such and such negative outcome. The question is, how do you get a piece of it? So if you look at the fact that the high in AGIX, okay, was something in the neighborhood of, 57 cents, and it now trades at 28 cents, when, the flavor of the day is to trace, I don't know, the Ron DeSantis meme coin. That stuff is a distraction. They've even got something, they have this thing that I'm tracking, Singularity DAO, where, they may offer DeFi products and indices, that people can invest in, that's AI driven. It's got a DeMark 13 bottom, and this thing's going the other way. So if crypto goes in a range, this goes back to your point about Ethereum. If crypto is in a range and Bitcoin stays quiet, that could allow, instead of a crypto market, it could become a market of cryptos. Meaning in a sideways environment, it does allow things to pop, started with meme coins, and maybe that flips over into AI. Because, people are so distracted, they're not asking themselves, okay, what's really cheap and what's going to perform now and all the way through the next cycle. I think that's Bitcoin. I think that's the AI coins. Maybe you can throw Avalanche in there because they can do a security token. They have a security token functionality. And really with this stuff, as I know this sounds kind of corny or hedged, but it's not a question of if you buy this stuff, not investment advice. It's just a question of, can you make them sell it to you at a good price, or is this a good price? Right. There's a real investing theme in crypto. This is the difference between crypto now and crypto in the past. There are real investing themes. If a meme can be worth $1 billion, what can an AI coin? What can, if NVIDIA can add $220 billion in market cap in one day, what's Ethereum worth? What's Cardano worth? What's Solana worth? In other words, if they do this Bitcoin ordinals thing and they slow down that network, people are going to go looking for something faster, cheaper to pay for things with. Even if that's NFTs, that could be Solana, that could be Litecoin. I think a sideways market and boredom is a good time to come up with, like strategies, sectors, a watch list in effect. Right? Like, I got a watch list on TradingView. I told you the coins, or I suggested the coins that I'm following, but, like, for example, I watch bank stocks, like here's a list of bank stocks, and look, Schwab's down today. Every other bank stock's up, but Schwab is down. Okay. That's just something I'm noticing. Right. And you can do the same thing by watching your watch list. If I put Litecoin on here, okay, maybe Litecoin is something that, you grab your BitLab chart tools and maybe you start charting this. Litecoin, you're like, okay, yeah, it's up. But when you go to a weekly, Litecoin has been destroyed. Let's go 2 weeks. That's how I got it labeled. I mean, Litecoin could go down to 44 or it could go up to 400. Right? Where's Litecoin going to be coming out in December? Like, I know it sounds like it's forever, but it actually isn't. Like, think about it. In November of last year, Bitcoin was going to 10K and CZ was going to get run out of town. And crypto Twitter wanted it to be run out of town. And then now we're at 27K in Bitcoin, and Pepe had $1 billion market cap. If you had said 6 months ago there'd be a meme coin with $1 billion market cap and Nvidia in one day could move, the market cap move would be bigger than the GDP of Greece, people would have been like, oh, that's not possible. So, okay. So now that we've learned that lesson, go 6 months forward and say the United States is in a crisis. You can read articles by Ray Dalio. I can talk about Gan's seasonality of all kinds. Something is really going to shift in the United States, like beyond the little debt ceiling crisis. It's not going to be good. So how do you trade that? What's the world look like in 6 months? Because remember, in research, and you listening to this can do research. You can develop your own framework. Even if it's like one chart with an RSI, that's a framework. But you got to ask yourself, where is this thing going to be in 6 months? Like 6 months ago, the things that are happening now seemed impossible. Okay, so go forward 6 months and go, okay, what's the craziest thing I can think of? Like, it's not the coin you bought 2 years ago that may never come back. It's what's on my screen now that's new and perky, or a whole new look for Bitcoin. Where's it going to be in 6 months?
So with that being said, I think that's a great point. And I think this is a good teaching moment here for everybody. If I were to throw an asset at you, whether it's a crypto asset you have or haven't heard about, and you had a process, and I'm sure there's more than this, but if we distilled it down to 3 or 4 main things, if you're looking into an asset, of course, it's going to balance between fundamentals and technicals. What would be like the 3 or 4 things that you're looking at when you're looking into an asset to say, okay, whether you know the asset or not, let's pretend it's a new asset. What are you looking at? Are you looking at transactions? Are you looking at adoption? Are you looking at what are the 3 or 4 things you think every asset that you look at when you're trying to determine what your strategy is going to be with it?
Okay, good question. So the first thing you want to look at on a chart point of view is when it corrects, does it hold the 62% retracement? Right. I mean, that's just, I learned this from Oh Hey Maddie. It's like, if something holds 62%, it's good. And if it doesn't, it's not. So, I'm looking at Litecoin here. Litecoin did this rally, and then there was this dip in March, and it hit the 62% retracement at 70. And now it's forming what I call the Pepe formation, which is just this sort of like square range. Okay. And these square ranges are healthy. So if you get a 62% retracement and then a square range, like Ethereum is famous because I chart it by hand. Square ranges, Ethereum eventually goes whoop. So that's what you're looking at on a technical side. Now, you're also looking for something that outperforms. What's outperformance? Okay, well, I showed you underperformance, right? Like Schwab's down and everything else is up. Okay, that's not good for Schwab, right? But then if you try to convert that over to crypto, here is, like MicroStrategy, right? So Coinbase up 2%, MicroStrategy's up 4.7%. Okay. Every time Bitcoin goes up, MicroStrategy goes up. If Bitcoin goes up 2%, MicroStrategy goes up 5%. Okay. You're looking for this. You're looking for that relative outperformance. And sometimes you can measure it. Sometimes you just got to look at it. And this is a giant diamond formation in MicroStrategy. And it's very simple. In Legacy, if you want Bitcoin exposure and you can't get Bitcoin, okay, you're going to buy the stock of somebody who owns it, which is MicroStrategy. You're not going to deal with an ETF. You're not going to deal with a futures contract. You're not going to deal with anything that's got regulatory risk, or at least in the minds of Legacy people. It's going to buy MicroStrategy. So if MicroStrategy is consistently outperforming, and this is another key, there's a story. You know, a guy named Peter Lynch wrote this book in the 90s. I don't even know if you can buy it anymore. You know what this guy did? He used to walk around in stores and see what people were buying. Or he used to watch TV commercials and just say, hey, who's got a compelling narrative? Investing is about the story. It's not about charts, it's about math. It's not about on-chain data. I mean, it is, but it's really about the story, right? And the story of crypto, obviously, is so compelling. And you got to ask yourself, you know, does XYZ coin have a story? You know, AGIX has a story, right? MicroStrategy has a story. Meme coins are telling you that they can stretch crypto valuations. That's a story. You know, I work for a company, day job, you know, we're putting commodities on the blockchain, gold, water, stuff like that. You know, to us, that's a story. Is that top of mind today? No, but we'll go back to the other answer, right? What's holding retracements, right? What's outperforming, and what has a story, right? Like, why do you own X? If you can answer that question and then the other boxes are checked, that's my process.
So let me ask you a question about this. I think that's on a lot of people's mind regarding Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. Going into 2024, I don't think we'll have a top. I think we'll hit a lot of all-time highs, but 2025 is when just based on, time analysis and cycle analysis for Bitcoin, is probably the most likely, if we top, which I think is a higher likelihood than not, would probably be in 2025. Being that MicroStrategy is a publicly traded company, and although he said, and there's a speculation that he wouldn't sell, regardless of whether or not we get the fair value accounting or not, do you think that there's going to be pressure or a need or an actual actionable sort of decision that's made to take, maybe not all, but take some off the table, getting into that next all-time high region, or moving into it? Because smart money, looking, and it's clear as day, and this is why I push on-chain data so much for people. It's not because on-chain data gives you great signal. It's because on-chain data, especially for somebody new in the markets, you get to see a direct example of where smart money's buying and where they're selling. And the narrative is smart money buys when everybody's scared, basically near market cycle lows, and they start really moving out of that asset in the strength of a bull trend. Maybe not at the top, but for instance, Bitcoin, once we got above $30,000, $30,000 to $64,000, you could see, especially on the wallets holding more than 10,000 Bitcoin, sharp decline in the number of wallets that had that. Why? Because they're taking profits in the strength of a trend. Because MicroStrategy is a publicly traded company, do you think they're going to buck that sort of time-old sort of strategy of taking profits in the strength of a trend? Or are they going to be just the diamond in the rough of, we're going to hold regardless, and if it goes up, it'll come back down and they're going to reallocate? Do you think there's even any argument other than speculation to be made in that sort of case? Because they do hold 140 plus thousand Bitcoin. So that's going to have a massive impact, not only because of the number of Bitcoin they hold, but because of the dollar value that would create in selling pressure if they did start taking money off, not to mention the fear of how much they would take off once they start taking.
Okay, so the supply of Bitcoin is limited as it is, and there's no liquidity in markets. There's no liquidity. And this is kind of, it seems like a theme where people are looking forward to the next cycle and they're already saying, where am I going to sell? You know, my father was a stockbroker with like nothing more than a telephone on his desk from 1974 to 2000. And he used to say, when everyone's talking about selling, buy. Okay. If Bitcoin, and think about how much heat Michael Saylor was taking. I thought he was going to get liquidated last year. I thought there was going to be a debacle. It turned out to be FTX, and it wasn't him. This guy's been taking heat on this for 2 years, right? So if you get a monster new high in Bitcoin, this guy's an animal. He's going to buy more. That people are forgetting it. in 2020 and 2021, when Bitcoin went back to 20K, which is, people thought it would never go back there or take years and years and years. Michael Saylor was like, oh, 20K? Yeah, I'm buying it. You want to sell at the all-time high? No problem. I'll take it all. That was a beast. If this thing goes up, he's going to be like, oh my God, I got to buy all I can while I can. Now, is he going to take money off the table? I don't think so. Okay. If anything, he might entertain bids for his whole company. Because, when BlackRock and all these guys have to start buying Bitcoin, they're just not going to be able to get it. They're not going to be able to get the liquidity. The only way to get the liquidity is to sell MicroStrategy. Now, could he sell MicroStrategy? I can see that as his vehicle for taking profits. Right.
Well, I guess to that point, say we get to, I would say conservatively, the price does go down, let's say to $80,000. The price does go down, let's say to $80,000. The amount of money he could deploy because of what he was able to borrow against would then yet again bring the liquidation price from the collateral that he was borrowing against down so far and like exponentially increase the value of what he's holding as well. So there's a lot of different plays that could happen there, but and I think this goes back to the strategy that's involved in every single person that's participating in the market, the battle of fear versus strategy, and not paying specific attention just to what somebody else's strategy is, utilizing being aware of that, but also knowing that you have to make your own decisions based on what your strategy, what your risk exposure, what your risk tolerance is, and what your time horizon is, I think is a good point to bring up there.
Yeah, I think Saylor is going to do what Musk did. He's going to, Tesla was wildly overvalued for years. Elon took some of the money from Tesla and used it to start SpaceX. And then he used it to, create a free speech platform. Saylor is going to do the same thing. Bitcoin will be a decentralized form of money, and MicroStrategy will essentially be a giant development incubator, right, to help foster adoption, faster trading, better networks. So, he'll be just like a giant development lab for Bitcoin using borrowed money, that he borrows against Bitcoin. It'll be effectively the Bitcoin Foundation.
Yeah, I can see that. So we're coming up. It's 11:03. Let's do if I can hold you hostage for another, 10 minutes or so. Let's if you have any other assets. We talked about Bitcoin. We talked about Ethereum. We talked a little bit about AGIX. Is there any other charts or any? It could be other stuff too, because I did bring up some traditional stuff before. Is there any other thing you're seeing? Setups or considerations on? Could be totals. Could be indexes, could be dominance, could also just be other assets that you feel like maybe being overlooked at the moment in the digital asset ecosystem?
Certainly. So let's talk for a second. Let's talk about the bond market. So this may be the most digestible way for people to get the bond market. It's TLT. It's the long bond ETF in the stock market. So you can just, it's just like a regular ETF. You're coming up on support. You're coming up on what you hope is a 9 bottom. Okay. And you can see that this has just been down only, right? It's down only. Now, if you get debt ceiling resolution, a 9 bottom would hint, based on DeMark work, that there would be a counter trend rally. If that rally fails, okay, that means bonds are in trouble. Now, if bonds are in trouble, what does that mean for crypto? Well, means you got to be careful of altcoins, right? You got to be mindful. Now, when it comes to things like Polkadot, interoperability, and, even at Solana, okay, wait, going to get Polkadot up here. The question is, can you get people to sell you these great altcoins at really good prices? So here's Polkadot Weekly. Okay. Now, Polkadot Weekly, there's support at 482. Right now, it's trading at 526. If the bond market is a mess, you may get to pick up Polkadot at 482. Now, on a more extreme level, everyone hates Solana, which makes me want to like Solana. That and the fact that my co-host Toby likes Solana when I told her about it. as well as Cardano. But let me ask you something. Can you see a situation where interest rates rise, bonds go down, interest rates rise, and you can actually pick up Solana below 10 again?
Yeah, I
Right.
agree. I just want to pause you for a moment. We got a super chat. It just says, shout out to the BitLab family. Shout out to the BitLab family. I absolutely love you all. Thank you for starting my day off with positive vibes and helping me add to my skill set. And I want to say a special shout out to Bill for coming on here nearly every Friday for the last couple months. I think of him as part of the BitLab family as well. So thank you, Bill, for sharing your very broad and adept knowledge of the ecosystem and sharing your time with us, really. And everybody watching, shout out to all of you for being here on a daily basis. We got 162 people in the room. A second ago, we had 200. Maybe that's just a fluke, but hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, join us here in the community. We only have 112 likes. Let's get that up. I'm gonna throw it back to you now, Bill. I just want to shout out, was it B Team? Was it B Team Crypto? You're on the A team here in BitLab.
Right on. And I appreciate, just, kind of like in some ways, this is the highlight of the week. Because, we get to talk education. We get to talk education and tactics. Okay, so total 3, right? We've talked about this. If a mess develops, you might be able to get certain altcoins. Total 3, which is total market cap without Bitcoin and Ethereum, you may actually be able to get it at really low prices. Okay, you want to develop a list. Now, Solana, everyone hates it. The network's down. They got caught in the FTX debacle a year ago. Okay. But if they come out with a phone and they start airdropping you tokens that pays for that phone, there was a day where people carried a BlackBerry and an iPod. They'll do it again. They'll carry iPhone and Solana phone. Okay. And Solana is a fast network. Paying for things in Solana is not ridiculous. XRP is the same thing, right? XRP is if XRP becomes what the XRP people think it can become, it's got to become a form of money. Okay, so developing levels below the market where you would want to grab altcoins. I mean, if total 3, gets smacked, Solana may go back to 10. But, okay, that's crazy. But when Solana was at 10, nobody thought it was going to do what it did on the upside, right? Everyone was like, oh, Solana's dead. I mean, if I had $1 for every Solana's dead video, I probably could have bought 10 Solana. Solana went to 25. Okay. If it dips, look at it. I mean, not every altcoin is going to come back, but the altcoins that do come back are the ones everyone hates. The ones no one believes in, but that still have a value proposition. So you're looking for positive fundamentals, technical support, and haters. Because when it turns, all the haters turn into buyers.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And Solana, similar to ICP, 2 completely different narratives, but both got tied up in the FTX debacle. Solana having a lot of sort of negative press exposure because there was so much FTX involvement with Solana, although they are 2 different organizations. And then ICP being basically completely suppressed and sort of squeezed by FTX. 2 opposite narratives, but both had drastically negative impacts in different ways on the projects. And I think they're both great projects. I think Solana has some work to do, but there's not a crypto asset out there that I'm aware of that doesn't have work that's needed.
Every narrative develops over time, right? In other words, I'm sure NVIDIA is not perfect, right? There's a reason why not to buy things. Maybe with NVIDIA, it's the valuation. Who knows? There's always a reason not to do something. You want to look past that if you can, right? And, if you can't, if there's no way to do it, if it just sucks, all right, fine. But if there's a way to use your imagination, like if you had imagination, a chart, and some basic support points, you could make a ton of money over the next 6 months. And you could have the privilege of saying, okay, when crypto finally became what we think it is or what it should be, I was there. Like I want to be personally, I'm on YouTube, I'm hammering away. I'm on Twitter because I want to be in the crypto hall of fame 10 years from now as a guy who was in on the ground floor, getting people involved so that when Bitcoin's at 250K, they can look back and say, who was there when Bitcoin was at, 13, 14, or 25K?
No, absolutely. So with that being said, we're kind of talking a little bit about altcoins. Do you have any thoughts around, looking at the total 2 or the total 3? Because there's a lot of there's kind of a split divide of there's 3 sort of types of crypto traders that I'm actually I would say 4, but let's talk about the 3 most prevalent ones. The people that are large majority, if not entirely, in Bitcoin, and if not, then the Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that's what they hold. So top major cap coins, and then you have people that have 15 to 20% Bitcoin, maybe 15 to 20% Ethereum or other Cardano, and then a smattering of other altcoins. And then you have people that are only mid cap and low cap altcoins. And then there's the whole degen factor as well that are just only taking a full, Babe Ruth swing at coins that have, under $1 million market cap. But we're not going to dive into that. Where do you think? And this is obviously subject to the market changing on a daily basis. Bitcoin's sitting at the 48% dominance rate. There's arguments about whether it's actually going to break through this time, or if you're trading that range as an asset, there's a high likelihood that it would break back down, which would mean another altcoin season. Do you think that we're going to get any sort of pre-halving alt season, even if it's short-lived, or do you think it's going to be something that's going to be a bit choppy back and forth with alts running and Bitcoin running until post-halving and Bitcoin starts making a lot of headway?
Okay, so I'm going to stick with my plan regarding Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance, right? Like, if the only thing you knew about crypto was buy altcoins when Bitcoin dominance is high and buy Bitcoin when Bitcoin dominance is low. That's it. Okay. Bitcoin dominance at 72 in 2021, every layer 1 in the world comes out and altcoins smoke higher. That's right here. Okay. Now you have the base, and this is the bigger the base, the higher in the space, right? Meaning once you break out of this range, Bitcoin dominance went straight down. It'll go straight back up again. Now, most likely that's going to be because something happens to, the United States, or people just wake up one day and go, I want Bitcoin. I want it massively. Now, one thing that people forget about Bitcoin is Bitcoin can be a monster. Okay. If Bitcoin goes up, it can make altcoins go down. It can, especially when it really smokes to the upside. I think you're going to wake up one day and Bitcoin dominance is going to be at 72. Now, that could happen after the halving. That could happen like first quarter next year. But I think it's going to be Bitcoin only, Bitcoin and gold only, right? As people go, oh my God, I cannot deal with this anymore. This debt ceiling thing, like I said, that's the beginning. It's the beginning of people questioning the integrity of the government, the debt, and our whole financial system, including the bank that they got their money in, right? I mean, certain banks are trying to tell high net worth individuals, oh, don't worry, everything's fine. Okay, yeah. Celsius was telling people that. Voyager, FTX. When they're telling you everything, it's fine, it's not. And you wake up one day and Bitcoin dominance is at 72, and that's when you start piling into altcoins. Like it's like the sale rack at Nordstrom's. You're like, oh, look at this designer stuff, 80% off. That could be Solana, that could be Cardano, right? That could be AGIX, or maybe AGIX doesn't go down as much as people think, as an example. It could also be XRP, right? Or QNT, something with payment system plumbing. Now, with XRP, is Ripple a friend at the company? Are they friend or foe for crypto? Are they helping every central bank out there develop a CBDC, right? I don't know. That's a side topic. Bitcoin dominance could go a lot higher. When it does, you just let it go, stay with Bitcoin, and then when it gets ridiculous and everybody goes, Bitcoin rules the world, the maxis are just having a ticker tape parade, buy altcoins.
Mm. So I just asked everybody in the chat. I'm curious what your answer is here. What are the last 3 digital assets that you bought or added to in your portfolio? Do you have three that you're willing to share?
Sure. You know, to state the obvious, Bitcoin, right? I work for Emerging Asset Group where we're trying to get commodities on the blockchain. So, I bought our token GLDN, right? And that's basically a straight value investing play. GLDN is a gold connected token that you're going to use to buy water. Okay. And I'm just like, this is my bigger the base, the higher in the space look. This actually reminds me of Bitcoin in 2017. So GLDN's been through a huge winter. Okay. And when everybody wakes up and goes, I want gold, water, we're tokenizing the New York City Diamond District. You'll be able to buy diamonds, gold jewelry on chain without ever having to go through a bank. Rich people are going to be parking their money in diamonds and jewelry. Not to mention it's an amazing flex to be able to, buy jewelry on chain. So, I mean, that's one thing that I bought. Strangely enough, the thing I should have bought, which again, my co-host Toby picked up, and I'm still thinking about it, is Ben. Why is everybody fading Ben Armstrong? Ben Armstrong sold his house, sold football helmets, right, to build a YouTube channel, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, this guy's bad. Really?
Did you see the roadmap? He posted a roadmap video last night, and it was phenomenal. I mean, every dollar from the Ben Foundation organization side of it, every dollar that is made from the liquidity pools, and basically even if coins are sold. But by the way, there's a token lockup that's going to be built in that they cannot sell until after, I think it's $500 million market cap or something. And even when they do sell, they can't sell more than 0.5% of the daily trading volume on any. So there's basically, they've built in the inability to rug the project, and all money that's made from the project, all of it goes towards funding all the things that crypto adoption needs: awareness campaigns, the funding lobbying programs for empowering crypto legislation, crypto education. And so the fact that anybody's even fading it, I just shows that they're held hostage by narratives that other people barked at him about because they don't like his personality. Everything Ben does is, I mean, he spends so much time in Washington, D.C., state legislatures. I mean, it's a shame that people have such a misshaped sort of viewpoint on what he does, because literally everything he does is towards the betterment of the crypto ecosystem, whether you like his personality or not.
Yeah. I mean, contrarian theory applies here. I mean, Toby picked out Ben with authority, right? It's retraced to 38% retracement, a completely normal retracement, particularly after people anticipate a news event and then it comes out. This dip is really not an unreasonable dip, right? I mean, I did a video with Toby on Ben. We got 250 views. That was half the number of views we got when we did Pepe, right? So she got Pepe in mid-April. She got Ben down here at the 62% retracement of the move at that point, and it goes straight up. 250 people watched the video. I couldn't sell it. I lost followers. That's the extent of the revulsion around what this guy, around what BitBoy's doing. I mean, I've met the guy multiple times. I watched his live stream in person at his studio when he crossed 1 million followers. Why would anybody think that this guy is A, stupid, and B, doesn't have the ability to stay relevant? I mean, he looked at the meme coin thing and just jumped on it. Everybody thinks he's pumping and dumping. He just figured out a way to digitize and monetize the stuff he's been talking about, as you noted, for a long time. So, I mean, I'm not shilling this. I should have bought it, but the fact I don't own it, right? I don't know. I think that gives me in some ways more credibility to say, all right, if crypto gets killed, this will get killed with everything else. But if Bitcoin's in a sideways range, it gives this opportunity. And again, what I was saying earlier, there's a story here. right? Nobody wants to listen to the story. They just want to give BitBoy a hard time. What are we doing in crypto? I mean, we're supposed to be together. You know, the bad guys who have failing banking systems and failing bond markets, you should be yelling at them.
Yeah, and just so if anybody's ever wondering, because, you know, obviously BitLab here, we're our own entity, which I have, partial ownership of. Hit Network has ownership of as well, but I basically get to run it as I see fit. I get to pick what I do, pick the content. I don't have anybody over my shoulder telling me what to talk about. I mean, it's literally its own entity. But separate from that, with the Hit Network, even with Ben himself, we have a corporate policy that basically an insider trading policy. Anything that we talk about on stream, we're not allowed to buy or sell within 72 hours of the mention of it on stream, unless on stream we're saying, hey, everybody, I'm going to be taking profits at this level. Then if it gets to that level, we've also notified everybody. So there's no talking about a project and then selling it out from under people. Literally, it's a fireable offense for anybody. So it's a very, very different sort of, very different than what I think people believe is the case. And you know what? Everybody's on their own path to learning, whether things about the crypto ecosystem or the personalities in it. And that's okay too, But now I'm glad you shared that. And so many wonderful things that you've shared here on this stream. I look forward to every Friday that you're on here, Bill. Why don't you let people know, we're going to wrap up here so I can do the giveaway. Let people know anything else you got on the horizon for people that haven't followed you yet, where they can follow you, where they can find your stream as well.
Sure. So, the YouTube channel is @CryptoNoble is the handle, right? We're doing at least 3 streams a day, 3 shorts a day. Crypto_Noble is both Twitter and TikTok. I'm expanding what you would call my GAN analysis. I've got somebody working with me, Toby, who's, great with everything from astrology to, outside the box stuff that's connected to astrology, like tarot cards. I'm taking a page out of BitBoy's book and I'm like, all right, well, if BitBoy can do controversial infotainment, so can I. So, look for us on those 3 platforms.
Awesome. I appreciate your time. I didn't know if you're going to be at Bitcoin Miami. I was bummed when I didn't get to shake your hand in person, but I know it'll happen at some point in the nearish future. And I look forward to that. And again, thank you for coming on here and sharing your thoughts and wisdom and just views on the market. And everybody throw a 1 in chat if you're appreciating Bill. I hope to see, there's 170 people in here. I hope to see 171s. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and follow Bill @crypto_noble. If you got any final thoughts before I throw it back and do a little bit of TA before we go.
Okay. Don't sleep on crypto. Okay. Make him sell it to you at a good price, and don't sleep on crypto. Don't be the guy that misses 250K because you were bored at 25K.
I absolutely agree with that. And again, thank you, Bill. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll be talking to you next week, my friend.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Adios, brother. Adios, muchacho. Everybody, how do you like that? I love talking with Bill because we're all so interested in the crypto asset, digital asset ecosystem. But when we talk with Bill, we get a sort of peek under the hood of the global economic ecosystem, as well as how these things all tie together. So before we go, we got a few minutes left. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, and if you have not yet, come over to BitLab Academy Twitter page, and you got a few minutes left right now to enter. Basically, if you follow us, hit that retweet button, hit this like button on today's tweet. This enters you for an opportunity to win here. Basically, I'll be drawing in about 5 minutes. Basically, we do everything from lifetime memberships, 3-month memberships, 1-month memberships to both the new BitLab Academy and the indicators, among other things. So come get involved, hit that retweet, hit that like button. Before we go, let's do a little bit of TA on what's going on within the market. I'm going to go turn on. Okay, Submersis is on. This is a new indicator we're going to be releasing soon. It's a farly upgraded VPVR with heat maps, also with these order blocks that basically show where there's some very interesting volume anomalies and order book anomalies that show you where price action will likely be magnetized to come back to. And we can see this right here. It happened 1, 2, 3, 4 times on this blue box area right here. If we zoom out, there's multiple different looks at this. We can turn on the mesopic feather instead. The submersus is basically the visible range. It will also always readjust, as you can see there. But if we turn on just the feather, and you can set this between 50, 75, 100, whatever you want. And we can see there's no volume anomalies on this. We do have the point of control right here, which is this line, and price action has come right up to it and currently facing a little bit of a rejection. If we're looking at this on the 4-hour, I do want to point out we bounced right in this zone. This is a zone I marked out about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, of where I was looking for price to come back into, that I was looking at basically layering in to the market a little more, some DCAing, some basically buying at these levels, because we have this level of support, this horizontal support, that's part of this trading channel that the price action is basically falling into. But we have this sort of cross of the low of this region, which is right here. We have the support region coming right here. We have this basically this diagonal level of support coming up from a long time ago, which is essentially these 2 points here. And the price action is sort of getting sucked down into these multiple points of confluence. So I front ran this region a little bit with this box. So anywhere in this box, I was looking at adding some of my dry powder, which I have. And we're seeing we did get a bounce right off of that with a wick on the 4-hour as well, meaning that buy pressure, a lot of other people were seeing this zone as well. A lot of buy pressure that came into this, and price action coming right up. We're at a point of contention right here with this point of control. We can see this blue, this higher heat map sort of level, and the highest volume traded on this region right here. Price action is respecting this point of control level of this region and is getting currently rejected. We're seeing the relative extrema, not only here on the price action candles, which is why these are pink, but we can also see this is why the reason these are pink is because this is unhealthy movement. Essentially, there's not the necessary buying pressure to really hint at this being a follow through. And as it stands right now, it sort of makes sense. We're coming into this point of control, and a lot of these bottoms, which are right in here, we're getting a little bit of a rejection. So let's come down to the 1 hour. Let's see how it's looking on the 1 hour. Now, this is interesting. See on the 1 hour? Oh, sorry about that. See on the 1 hour, we have the feather, mesopic feather here. We have 1, 2, 3 different boxes, these order block anomalies, volume sort of inconsistencies in the order books. And we see price action has been sucked up into this region. We've actually gone through this first level right here, which should have been resistance, kind of sliced right through it, but we did find resistance in this blue box right here. Now, the interesting thing about this is this was pink, and this has turned to being healthy, meaning these candles are white. This is within the healthy aggregate momentum wave that we're seeing here on the relative extrema. But we are seeing that the momentum indicators are sort of in consensus that things are getting a little overheated, which sort of makes sense because we're in this sort of level of resistance of not only the point of control, but also these order blocks that we're seeing basically being a weight on top of the price action as we're seeing right here. Now, what does this mean? What I'm seeing right here is a bit of choppiness, a little bit of uncertainty about what's happening. If price action cannot break through these and maybe find resistance here, find support back here, and then continue. If we're not able to cut through this, then we are going to be testing these lows again back at 26,125 area. And if we lose that, then of course coming back into this. And I do think if that happens, we will come down into this region on the lower bound, 25.6 to 25.7 region down here. That's what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. We're going to leave it there with the TA. I will be on BitBoy after this show, doing some TA as well. So definitely tune into that. But before we do that, let's go over here. Make sure right now, come over to the Academy at Academy BitLab. There's some links in the chat as well. I'm going to do this, retweet this to win, retweet this to enter to win. Boom. boom. Do that right now. I'm going to be doing the drawing here. You have a last minute to get in here. Just follow us, retweet, hit the like button. And before we go, make sure you come over to BitLab Academy. I do want to point out something for everybody. If you were ever a member before, and you've canceled, you still have the ability to come over to bitlabacademy.com, sign in with the same email and password that you had before. Sign in, even though you're no longer a member. You still have an account that's just not subscribed. Sign in, come up to my account, go to subscriptions. You can resubscribe. If you ever were a member before, you could still resubscribe at the lower rate from before, the $29.99. So you still have the ability to do that. Anybody that's new, trying to sign in for the first time, you can come over to bitlabacademy.com, hit enroll now up here at the top right, which mine doesn't say that because I'm logged in. Or you can click right here, start your education for free. Or you can slide on down to the lower right here, beginner start free now. Or click right here, become a member, all access. And when you go to those pages, you'll see an option to either completely sign up, or right here, sign up for free, or I want all access. You go through the process. The free is all the very beginner stuff. Bitcoin 101, what is Bitcoin, what is blockchain, and some free lessons. If you sign up for the all access, you come here, you can still use Give Me 30 for 30% off the account. For the first month, and that's for the indicators, or that's for the BitLab trading stack, or the courses, or both. I just wanted to point that out. So take advantage of that. Now let's go ahead and do the competition. Let's see what day we are drawing from. What day are we drawing from? It's going to be Wednesday. Alrighty, so let's come over here to BitLab Academy. Let's log in. Let's connect this profile. Got it. So we are logged in here. Let's log in with Comment Picker. Now authorize app. And now hopefully, where did it go? Hopefully we don't get the browser crash, which we've had a few days now. This was boom. This would have been Wednesday. So let's go ahead and log this in. We're going to put this right here. Boom, boom. Get the data. Now let's see who won. This is going to be for 1 month, the courses and 1 month indicators. You get both. We got, it's all selected. Start. Let's see who won. Dano Crypto, my man. This is our guest from last week. I will be reaching out to you directly, get you involved in the Discord, get you a free month, the indicators and the courses involved in there. I will chat with you as well. And because I was planning on giving him one anyway, we're going to do one more winner. That's right. We want to make sure we're giving back to the community. So we're going to do a secondary winner as well. Mr. Blake in the house. Always in the chat. I see you on Twitter all the time as well. You got 1 month access to courses and indicators as well. That's all I got for you today. I love you all. Make sure that you come and check us out. Get some positive empowerment, good comments, all this sort of stuff over at BitBoy Crypto. I'll be doing the TA on the stream here in just about 10 or 15 minutes. So get involved there. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to do the redirect. So if you have not yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, get involved with our community. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you're following my own account as well, which is right over here. Follow Crypto Noble, crypto_noble. Follow my account, which is right here at Kelly Kellam, Kelly Kellam. With that, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on the BitBoy Show, and over and out. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for being here. Hope to see you over and over. Hit the like button, subscribe, be my friend to see you again. Adios, everybody. Hit that like button.